All right, so let's talk about how to actually take trades, right, with Manara. How to take trades, when to take trades, when not to take trades if we see something. So one of the things that I teach is zones, right? I teach about buy zone and sell zone. Why is that important? Because when you're in a buy zone and Manara's calling a buy, you take the trade. When you're in a sell zone and Manara's calling a sell, you take the trade. When you're in a buy zone and it's calling a sell, we don't take the trade. If we're in a sell zone and it's calling a buy, we don't take the trade. Now, how do you get the zone? So it's called a trend line, right? We talked about this in my recordings, in my teachings, in my training. So go to, if you want to know more about this, go to ECA and then look for market structure part 2. All right, market structure part 2 is what I talk about trend line. So a trend line basically gives us the direction of where the market is going. Again, a trend line gives us the direction of where the market is going, right? So on an uptrend, we draw a trend line on the higher lows right here. 1, 2, right? So what you want to do is find 2 or more higher lows and draw a line, okay? This will give us a buy zone, right? Because when the market, everything is above the market or the line, or the bullish trend line, within the buy zone. If anything's below it, we call it sell zone. So in a buy zone, we look for buys. So if Manara is calling a buy in a buy zone, we're taking a buy. Okay? So for example, in this case, right, is it safe to take a buy? Yes. All right. Let's say we go to, we go and look for notification and look for GBP USDs calling a sell on a bat pattern. Now, for me, for example, I use 2 patterns, butterfly and bat. I believe I said this multiple times, but I use butterfly and bat. That's it. Those are the only 2 I use, right? So I make sure my risk reward is good and etc. Right? It's high. All right. So bat pattern, let's look at it. So this is calling a sell. Okay. If it's a downtrend, I'm going to take the sell. All right. So look at this. I could draw my trend line, or however you want to draw a trend line. Okay, so a trend line like this. Okay, so bam, trend line. All right, so we have a buy zone, and then sell zone. All right, was the entry in my where? So in this case, the entry was my buy zone. I mean, yeah, with my buy zone. So I'm not gonna take this trade. Right? Yes, it looks good and all, but no, we have to be disciplined. Right? There's a lot of trades that come out. So I drew my trend line, or I drew my my trend line based off of on a bearish trend. We draw on a lower highs. Right? So if you don't understand this, go look at the video with market structure. I promise you would understand it. Right? If you don't know structure, right? So bam. Right? That's a high. That's a high. This is called a lower high, lower high, lower high. So on the downtrend, right, we want to see this lower high, lower high, lower high, and etc. Right? The next lower high should have been here, but it broke through. Right? It did something called a stop hunt. Right? So we don't take this trade. All right, let's look at something else. 80 USD. Right? It's called in a sell. Right? If I'm able to draw a trend line, I'm good to go. Right? So in this case, I could draw a trend line. Just look for 2 or more lower highs. Okay. 2 or more lower highs. So in this case, it's a downtrend. The sell looks good. It looked good before. Right? So this would have been a sell right here. Right? Because this wasn't created. Right? So this would have been right here. Right? So this trade I would end up taking. All right, let's go another one. USD JPY. It's called a sell. All right. We already know that it's in a buy zone. Right? So nope, we're not taking a sell. Manara gives us so many trades that like there's no point. Okay. So number one, you want to look at the trend, what the trend is going, right? And the easiest way, trend is your friend. Remember that. Trend is your friend. The easiest way is to just draw a trend line. You take it or not. Right? This is this AUD JPY. Right? Right now, what zone are we in? Looks like we're in a buy zone, right? We see higher highs, higher lows. Right? So am I taking this trade? No, I'm not. Right? It's in a buy zone. It's calling a sell. I'm not going to take this trade. All right? Unless it's below this on the sell zone, then I'll take the trade. Does that make sense? It's very easy, very quick to look at. Now, you remember that you also want to make sure that your risk reward ratio is good as well, right? So yes, we have the symbol, right? The pairs, we say buy or sell. It tells us the patterns, whichever patterns you choose, the time frame, depending on what type of trader you are, right? The entry, your target, your stop loss, risk reward, right? Make sure that all these are above a 3 and above. At least for me, that's what I do. I do a 3 and above. Okay. So again, whatever pair that you trade, right? Just look for, see if it's uptrending or downtrending, right? This particular one, we don't see higher highs, higher lows, low highs, low lows. So this is not trending. I wouldn't take it. All right. This is not trending. I won't take it. Right. We have this. Then we have this. Right. It's not trending. So I won't take it. There's no rush, right, in these trades. Now, what MANARA do is that it scans the entire Forex market, right? It scans the entire market and gives us the patterns that come out. That doesn't mean that every pattern we take, right? Because on some pairs you have buy and sell. How do you know what to take? By the zones, right? So learn how to get the zone, learn how to read the zones. Once you learn how to read the zones, you're good to go. So let's say, for example, right, you go to monitor and then you see an incomplete. All right, so let's make sure that this is incomplete. So let's do all. Right, you go to monitor and you see incomplete. All right, so incomplete is calling us to, so USD/JPY is calling a buy. All right, now if it's calling a buy, same thing. If it's in the buy zone, which would be right here, I can't do it right now, but bam, open the buy zone, I'm taking the trade. Right, if I draw the trend line, it's going to be right here, just like that. I'm taking the trade. This is a good trade. Okay, so incompletes, you look at it as well. Euro USD is calling a sell. You draw the trend line, it's most likely going to be in there. You take the trade. Right, so you draw the trend line, know if it's in a buy zone or a sell zone. If it's in the sell zone, calling a sell, we're good. If it's in the buy zone, calling a buy, we're good. And that's it for this session or just training, right? God bless you. I see you guys. Hopefully you guys will do great. I pray that you guys do great. I'll see you guys in the sessions. God bless you. Danquah signing out. Like I always say, peace.